Udyr is not banned, so that could be something they want to go. Or do they trade? Do you trade Renekton for Udyr? Do you want to be able to get that Jinx early on? It's really the question for LNG of which one they find more priority in.
Oh man, it's the first pick Renekton too. All right, I like it. Hey, don't even need the Udyr if you don't want it. I would like to see Rogue Warriors go ahead and pick the Udyr up here. I need to see Haro on something comfortable, something that he can feel good on. And having been one of his second most played, they are gonna do it though. They're gonna get the ADC here. They're gonna
wondering
get
if Jinx and Udyr. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I would wonder. I would wonder if they do go for that, or maybe just go for their support duo down there. It is the Udyr locked in though, and kind of what we were looking for Haro, and setting himself up to be a big piece for this Rogue Warriors in game 2.
Also, then the question goes over to LNG and what they want to be able to get, because there are still some strong picks that they can fall back to if they want to. Alistar is something that we didn't see touched last time, same with Rell. Even though we haven't been seeing them as much, they are still viable options that you can go back and be able to draw into. Xayah Rakana is another opportunity if you want an ADC that not only is going to be able to scale, but has that self-peel within her kit that could help LNG a bit more to be able to play so proactive.
Alistar's still open. I want to see. I know you want to go with the lovers duo and all that good stuff. I personally have not been really liking Rakan into a lot of these tankier matchups, especially in the jungle. So I would like to see something a little bit tankier, a little bit more initiation heavy, a little bit more in your face, if you will, from LNG, because that's where I think they could succeed the most. But it is the Nidalee picked up for Tarzan, so indexing even more onto the aggression early on.
See, I knew that it was going to be the Nidalee, but my heart was fluttering when I saw Shyvana, I saw Evelynn, I saw Karthus. I'm like, oh, please give me something fun like this. I knew it was never meant to be. I knew that was just a pipe dream of mine. But going over to what is now going to get drafted for Rogue Warriors. They opt to get that Gragas, something that can be flexed. Could be for QiuQiu in the bot lane, but more than likely trying to see if they can pair it up against that Renekton to be able to sustain and stay relatively safe against the champion who's going to look for a lot of all-in early on.
I'm interested in the Gragas pick here for Rogue Warriors. I mean, you have a little bit of flexibility in that aspect of it. As we see the Rakan ban for Rogue Warriors.
Expected.
Don't want to let the lovers duo go down too much of a strong combo, even if I don't like it necessarily, but it's fine.
Well, it makes me think that it's going to be double support ban from Rogue Warriors. They're going to go Rakan and Alistar probably here. That's what I think.
Rakan and Alistar, yeah, just to make sure that Alistar gets off the board. LNG ban away the Zoe from Forge, which I don't feel like had the biggest performance last game, but there were some possibilities there, especially with a little bit of that mobility in mid lane, a little bit of roam potential. So don't want to just give over one of Forge's champions in that aspect of it. It is the Alistar ban though, as you said, the big brain magic coming in. We got two big brain caps on right now.
Hey. See, just because I gave you my big brain cap doesn't mean the big brain fully left. It's still got some of the magic flowing through my veins. But now with this, we're kind of seeing what is left on the table for both teams. I mean, I'm wondering if it's just going to be a trade for mid laners, probably Orianna and Azir, since they've left those open with that Lucian ban coming in from LNG. It's something that's just pretty typical, nothing too egregious to try to do anything. It's going to help out a lot for both the teams trying to team fight.
And I was just about to say, I wonder what we see for QiuQiu here, as this would actually be his first Rell game of the split. And Rell is obviously just an OP champion right now. Like, if you can execute right on the crash down combo and trying to get all that CC layered there. But that also does mean the Gragas is going to be more than likely going to one of these solo lanes. So you have a little bit of difference in a matchup there. Maybe it'll be going against the Renekton in the top lane for Ziv. But I was about to say I still want to see the initiation come through for LNG. And they get it with the Leona.
Oh, are they going to flex that Renekton mid lane? That is an option they could go for. I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting Icon to go onto Orianna right here. That would probably be something that could fit with their comp a little bit more. But that is always an option. Oh,
hey.
They leave it open. So Icon, now this Aatrox, while more than likely going to be from QiuQiu, it technically still could be in mid lane.
Yeah, technically could.
Technically.
We're going to get some heavy AD in the solo lanes here, I have no doubt. As they're definitely looking to get some carry potential in that aspect of it. We kind of could have expected that to an extent. If we do see the Nidalee, you know, you go for that
dude,
AP heavy jungler.
That's why I thought it would be Orianna. I thought it would be something safe.
Yeah. But it is a bit of a gauntlet throwdown, a glove, if you will. The Forge is going to be picking up the LeBlanc to take into this AD matchup the mid lane.
So let's see. Renekton or Aatrox? Will LNG be spicy or will they be plain? That is the question. They're spicy, they put the Aatrox jungle, and they give me a Nidalee mid. That would be my dream. I used to play a lot of Nidalee mid lane, and I still have the tendency to throw the spear, jump backwards, because that was the combo you'd want to go to maximize the damage. It's like, it's one of those built-in instincts that you just can't work out.
So now this is their time to bring it all the way, get some advantages for themselves. In the fact that they have some of these strong pieces, especially looking at the LeBlanc in mid lane. But you've got to deal with the oppression that's going to be coming out from LNG.
And LNG, they want this game. They want to secure their ticket to playoffs. They want to secure themselves in that position. Even if it's 10th seed, it's better than nothing. While Rogue Warriors, this could be their final bout on the Rift for the spring split.
As we do get onto the Rift, onto said battle location. Maybe he's getting a bit of...
What skin is that? What skin was that for Renekton?
Isn't that the def... Oh, for Renekton. I have no idea. I was not looking.
I was looking at the definitely not
Udyr.
But look at it. It's so
that's
cool.
The Frostfire. That's the Frostfire.
Oh, is that it? Oh, that looks so
it's
cool.
really good. It makes him look super scary.
I mean, crocodiles are pretty scary.
They are, especially when they're on
regards.
two legs and they're running at you with a giant blade. You know,
have you ever actually seen a crocodile run on two legs? Some of them can.
That's very frightening. I don't want to see that, Magical. Don't put that in my brain.
Are really
I'm
fast.
nightmares
I'm just telling
tonight.
you right now. But right now,
I'm gonna have nightmares.
looking like Lwandy was able to get rid of that ward. But look at what Betty and QiuQiu have set up. They are setting up a bait. They have been waiting here a long time. Oh, Betty.
Yeah, he lets it go a little early.
Just stepped that too soon. You gotta wait so you can get the lockdown onto them.
It is a Leona, though, right? Like, you got to be careful of that re-engage that Lwandy could do. I do want to point out now, Magical, though, we are getting the opposite side starts from both junglers. I want to keep an eye on how that pathing works out, where they really want to put a focus. But as we could expect, LNG look like they want to focus these solo lanes. Look like they want to get Icon or Makuya ahead on this Aatrox and Renekton and funnel that in the bot lane, letting the Xayah get to a late game scaling point.
I'm really curious to see if it's just going to be vertical jungling coming in from both of them. Try to see if they can play on opposite sides of the map, since Haro's going to be able to keep his pace pretty well against Tarzan. The only problem is that he is a little low. And since he did start on the top side without getting a leash onto his buff, Tarzan actually looking for an early gank on the Forge. Trying to see if they can play down. Flash comes in.
There it is.
Here's the spear as well. They've got the Mimic, and it's first blood for Tarzan.
Exactly the execution you're looking for in this combo. We've seen it time and time again. When you pair up Renekton with Nidalee, it is a deadly duo.
Nicely done on the side of Tarzan. I was wondering if it was going to be vertical jungle. It almost looked like it was going to be, but they saw how far Forge was pushed out. That is the problem with this matchup with the LeBlanc into Renekton. You're pretty much going to be able to push him out since it's the range into melee. Even if Renekton's normally a top laner, it's still that same mindset where he's going to have a difficult time. So, of course, that means it's easy pick'ems. Forge is likely not going to have that distortion, so why not just go and punish her before she's going to be able to escape?
And now you set Tarzan up for early game advantage here. He's going to get the Scuttle Crab. You do get the trade. On the other side by Haro, who will get his own Scuttle Crab. But you're getting gold early on the Nidalee. And Nidalee loves that gold. So you're going to be able to put on a ton of damage, a ton of follow-up at least. But Haro still in this Udyr has a lot to say about that. If you can kind of still get up into Tarzan's face and get some of that skirmishing going, something we didn't see in game number 1. That's where I feel like you can be successful. But unfortunately, Haro on his first outing onto the Rift, unable to get anything for his team, just going to have to get a reset.
Has to do that because there's nothing really to be able to gain on that bottom half of the map. But I will say, transitioning back into this mid lane, even though Forge did die, you know, died first blood, Icon still is going to have a difficult time. It's not going to make this any easier just because you're able to get a kill early onto LeBlanc, and it's also Forge's LeBlanc. This is a player that has historically played a lot of assassins. He likes to play in your face, this kind of style. Control mages don't really fit him, so getting back onto LeBlanc, one of his most played champions in his entire career, with one of the highest win rates as well. It is something that you're wanting to see Rogue Warriors be able to index more into, to be able to facilitate this LeBlanc to take over the game.
I love seeing the time chamber that could be, not getting to play the champion that much here recently, but being able to whip it back out when you feel confident, when you feel like you can play it and win the game. But still, no proactive plays from Rogue Warriors, at least before the 5-minute mark. Kind of maybe what we expected, unless we were going to see Haro get something going early. But it's still a lot of buying your time for Rogue Warriors. I do feel like this bot lane's going to get a little bit tricky for Betty and QiuQiu, but I think they'll be fine up until the point where you can scale up and get to this objective. It is an Infernal Dragon first, so maybe a little bit more priority put onto this objective early than we saw last game, even though it was taken pretty early last game as well.
Was Tarzan spotted out by that ward? That's my question there, because he was able to dodge away the Scryer's Plume. I don't think you spotted out. Look at this. Going for this invade onto Haro's Gromp. Trying to see if they can get Lwandy. Zenith Blade over the wall. Going to be able to connect with the spear too. Beautiful placement.
Oh my god. Magical. Tarzan is so clinical with this. He is helping. He's getting help from his team, and he is landing the spears. They are heat-seeking missiles right now. 2-0 already on the Nidalee, and exactly where LNG want to be. He's gotten presence across the map now, except for the top lane.
God, that was impressive right there. Just seeing them thread the needle. I wasn't sure he was able to lock him down, but now bot lane.
Oh, the feather.
Having the ignite. Look at Betty, pretty low. Not going to look for the flash onto it. Instead, they're going to turn the attention back onto QiuQiu, getting the stun, backing off, taking over this lane.
A bit unfortunate for Rogue Warriors bot lane too, just getting traded down onto by Lwandy, getting the engage there, and that also means that LNG are going to have a lot of pressure in this bot lane. Betty almost going down a second time there, back to back, but able to get out of there. Having used that cleanse though, does still have the flash available to him, so we'll see what that works out to as Forge almost is starting to get the Predator sights on him. It's got the 3 trio laser beams right on his face.
I feel like I'm hearing the Jaws theme in the back of my mind anytime Tarzan.
Jaws Predator? What about a Jaws Predator? The same thing, all mashed together.
That'd be scary. That'd be really scary if it is a Jaws Predator hybrid thing. I don't even know, man. Right now,
just
Tarzan.
Be sharks with laser beams
attached to their freaking heads. Don't think I don't know, but let's take a look at this.
I got you. We're gonna be looking at this fight here. We're gonna be looking at.
He was able to dodge away. Yeah, he wasn't spotted at all.
Yeah, and he just snakes around the other side. Right here, though, is the biggest part. Right, you don't necessarily have the full vision there. You can't even see, but you kind of know where he is. He throws the spear in the dark and is able to get Haro.
It's in the dark. They kind of knew.
It's in the dark. I mean, aware. He has like 5 different spaces that his pixels can be on the other side of that Gromp, and he just happens to be in the one space that Tarzan throws his spear in.
It's like me when I play Blitzcrank, and I played with my friend one time, and I knew Anivia was pathing up, but it was completely blind. I had no vision. I said, "Hey, you want Anivia?" And I throw out the rocket grab Anivia, and we kill her immediately. And he's like, "How'd you do that?" And I'm just like, "I'm
you ask, we deliver."
Well, it was just spatial recognition. I understood where you should be as top lane. QiuQiu understands that Haro is there, so he's going to be able to back off. World Ender as well, just to be able to escape.
He's even going to throw the emote up, just to give him a little extra salt in the wound. Haro trying to get something early again, trying to get involved somewhere on the map, but it doesn't work out for them. They can't find the execution on it. That does mean that he's going to focus this Rift Herald, though, so at least LNG are going to be able to get something, but or at least our Rogue Warriors, but this is looking troublesome.
They're going to go for the dive onto Betty. They got the stun already. Easy peasy onto Betty. Even with the Solar Flare onto QiuQiu to give Icon a kill, too.
It's looking very unfortunate already for Rogue Warriors. It's 4 kills. They've gotten the Rift Herald now, so it's a little something clawed back for Rogue Warriors. Maybe a little bit of invade jungle here by Haro, but you got to be really careful because LNG are quick to collapse, especially that Mega Death Rocket.
Betty,
so close.
I respect it, but now Haro looks like he's in a little bit of trouble. Gonna hit the Dark and Flame with the Infernal Chains. Nah, okay. I don't think so. There's no World Ender up. Reset, and with the fact that Ziv was nearby, going to scare off QiuQiu, but not going to be able to steal away that blue.
I would like to see where Haro's going to take this Rift Herald, because I do think that's like the only advantage that Rogue Warriors have been able to get for themselves in this game. It is that dragon that we were talking about earlier, that Infernal Dragon going over to LNG, so a little bit extra damage in that aspect of it. But it did look like Haro just got the reset here. So maybe going back down towards this bot lane, maybe looking towards mid, just trying to find somewhere to use this Rift Herald, and that's where I'm looking at.
I would like to see if they can either open up. Personally, I always go with I like Rift Herald mid. I like Rift Herald mid because if you're not only able to get placed, but if you're actually able to get the tier 1, how much of the map it opens up. With doing that, you let Forge be able to rotate around this map, right? You need this LeBlanc in a flanking position, but you also make it so it's harder for Tarzan to move around. There's a two-pronged attack that would come in from Rogue Warriors that could give him some opportunity to be able to gain control away from LNG. Like you saw there, mid lane. Despite the fact that there's a kill and assist on Icon, Forge was nearly able to get a solo kill on him. He's able to force him out of lane, and he's going to be able to push back in. So now that Haro's here, I'd like to see him just plop immediately on that eye.
Yeah, you have to think it's coming, right? Because Icon having no TP to come back, the tower already having a plate gone. The only thing is, I wish they would have used it a little bit earlier, because now Tarzan's respawning, and Haro's already half health off of 1 spear. It will get the charge off, and hopefully a little bit of gold there to Forge, but QiuQiu's caught.
Is he, though? He might be able to just use that Paramancy to be able to escape. They're able to get a lot of plate gold mid lane for Rogue Warriors, so that is going to put Forge in a better position than he was once before, as Makuya spots out Haro. Pretty much LNG not really risking anything too much at the moment, since they know that there was a little bit of gold that was placed into the right members on RW's side. Giving Forge this opportunity to maybe rotate around the map, be able to try to get that snowball lead LeBlanc really is destined to try to get, might be a way that they can stop Tarzan from being a menace in the mid game.
Yeah, we already seen Forge able to kind of take that matchup in the mid lane in at least the 1v1 trades with that range advantage, but it's the outside influences that have meant so much, and Tarzan's right back to it, right back in the mid lane, right back waiting to try and find something here onto Forge, and just throwing out some spears. I thought that was going to connect. I was about to say, that's so scary. He almost walked into it,
yeah. I was like, no, that's not going to connect, right? And Forge kept walking for it. I'm like, oh, you are playing with fire, my friend.
As I do believe we're going to be getting that little mini replay of what was going on. A little bit of gold given over to Haro as well from that charge onto the tower. Betty and QiuQiu sniff something happening here. Oh my god. That is your tank. I know it's not tanky yet, and it's a Night Harvester already completed for Tarzan, but that is your frontliner.
Yeah. That ain't looking so good as right now. Forge, almost took a spear as well. That would have done a lot of damage. Probably would have been a kill, because you know they would follow that up immediately, but with it not connecting, Forge is able to back off, get some of these minions, keep at least a little above Icon. But unfortunately, if you look around the map for the side of Rogue Warriors, you look bot lane, you look top lane, you see these leads that have already been carved out by LNG.
No, Betty.
Too far out, trying to see if he can have this fight against Light, getting rooted as well. It's pretty much a solo kill for Light. Lwandy was there for moral support.
Yeah, I got the Ignite down there just to make sure the damage done to Betty will stick. They get the kill. Unfortunately, Betty a bit caught out from the rest of his team, nowhere near anybody that can really help him, and that means that Light's just going to get this tower for themselves, and it will be first tower to LNG.
And again, it's first turret gold given to Light. We saw this in game 1, where Light played the PvE style of ADC for a while, and anytime needing to join in a fight, was able to peel back and be perfectly safe. We're seeing a rinse and repeat from LNG. This doesn't even seem like a different game, despite the fact that we have far different champions on the Rift.
It's just a bit of rinse and repeat with different players here for LNG, as they've gotten the same kinds of Vs that they were looking for last time. They've got Tarzan ahead. They've got Light ahead. They're able to use these pieces around the map, and especially the momentum that Tarzan has had on the Nidalee. Forge having something to say about it, though, has been pretty mobile from the mid lane. Not necessarily getting that huge advantage that you might be looking for into that range melee matchup, but still able to find a little something for himself. And I think that the pickouts in the later parts, if you can get Light, even though, you know, Xayah having a ton of defensive peel abilities, defensive abilities across the rest of his team, if Forge can find those picks, that's where it can really start to come to light for LeBlanc.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's still a little bit ways off. Hasn't quite completed that mythic just yet. Waiting to be able to complete it, while the rest of LNG are able to keep her in control. Not even a good ward to be able to TP flank too. Ooh, that spear nearly stealing away blue buff from Forge. That could have been pretty close.
Could have been, but not gonna go through. Spear's just a little bit too short, if you will, for now. He's going for those long rangers. As LNG already starting up this dragon. This will be second dragon given over to them. As you see, Rogue Warriors just kind of let that one go. There is another Rift Herald up here coming up, and I would like to see if maybe Rogue Warriors able to go for that one again. I don't think their Rift Herald play last time was very effective, but you also just don't want to give that over to LNG, right? Like they've already gotten a ton of pressure around the map and turret plates. They've already gotten a lot of presence early on, and if you just let that objective go, that's another gold sink, another place where LNG can get success.
Yeah, but it's like I said, it's a hard one. Forge doesn't have that TP up right now.
He
Still
doesn't.
waiting to be able
There's
to get
nothing.
that. And so you don't have that TP flank that you could possibly get from LeBlanc. You're down 3,700 gold right now to LNG. You don't have any control of the map. You can even see that Makuya is keeping Forged on the side, where without that TP from Forge to be able to join in, Makuya can always just back off and try to flank himself. You always are now in a disadvantage. There's no real way that you could even fight over that Rift Herald without putting yourself at complete risk.
Yeah, and the lane assignments coming out from Rogue Warriors are sending Forge out of the bot lane. A bit unfortunate, but kind of has to, right? You've got Betty and QiuQiu in the mid lane trying to get Jinx that farm. That is so important. Not even having to hit that first mythic item. You already have an item and a half there on the other side for Light. And he's also 2,000 gold up. So that's going to feel real good right now for Light, as he's been picking up all that PvE gold that you were talking about. But Icon getting his own PvE gold, at least, in the top lane.
That's gonna at least get him to keep above Forge at this entire game. But like you're talking about, it's like, I'm actually surprised that it was Light with the most gold. I thought it would still be Tarzan just for having so much presence on this map, but you know, turret gold can be a lot. As you see, the Rift Herald nearly taking down the tier 1 mid lane for LNG. And really, they don't
Honestly,
even care that it's knocked down, yeah.
I really like that from LNG, though. Like, there was a potential for Rogue Warriors to turn that fight around. They had the pieces around them, and you know, LNG don't go all the way for that tower, but now they can go back in.
Flare used, picking off Ziv, getting him down immediately, and you can see that QiuQiu had nothing he could really answer with. The turret is too low. The rest of Rogue Warriors have to bail out of that, but the chase is continuing. Going to be able to get the distortion out. Rocket only connecting and doing a little bit of damage. That might be a tier 2 as well.
They could look for it here. A bit dicey of a situation, although they do take the fight very, very cleanly, able to get Ziv and QiuQiu off the back of it. It was Rogue Warriors kind of getting caught in the moment and using their engage to try to get back into the fight to try and stop the advance from LNG. Unfortunately, it does end up in 2 of them dying. They also lose that mid tower, lose a little bit of damage on that mid tier 2 as well. So, you know, again, best laid plans for Rogue Warriors. They're trying. The heart is there. Magical. It's just not the execution, as we see here.
I don't even know if he was able to get the explosive cast off. Yeah.
He literally just had to stand there. The CC chain was just, that's so unfortunate for Ziv.
Because that's one of the tools that they can use to kind of disrupt LNG, right? Since it is a pretty dive-heavy composition, right? Where they can easily dive into the backline and be able to pick off the members of Rogue Warriors. Well, Gragas is able to throw them all back and scatter them to the wind so they can then jump on. But if your Gragas can't even do anything, no belly flop, no explosive cast, barely was able to throw out the rolling cast himself. It's just not looking so hot for Rogue Warriors if you're trying to think of a way that they might be able to come back into this game.
You're starting to get a little bit of tankiness built up on the side of Rogue Warriors. You've got the chem tanks completed. You got Everfrost in the mid lane for Forge now as well. You're starting to get those mythic items that you really need. The only worry is, you know, you're hitting 2-3 items on the other team, so you need to kind of be careful of how you're approaching these next fights, especially around the objectives. Because again, we're in a predicament where LNG have a huge lead. They really get to decide where they want to play, how they want to play in this map, and Rogue Warriors kind of just have to respond, as we see Ziv getting responded a little bit kindly by LNG down there. But I just, when you're approaching these fights, it's so hard to find your proper footing for the side of Rogue Warriors.
Especially with how far behind they are. What is that? 7,000 gold? No, 6,500 gold that they're down? They're so far behind, and it's not even 20 minutes into the game. Look at how Betty's pinned underneath this tier 2. All they're waiting is for the minions so that Light can show up. And
Oh,
if
God.
spears land, Betty has to fall back. He can't stay nearby.
All right,
Icon
here it is.
going to be an opportunity, but this seems reminiscent
Oh
of
my
what we
God,
saw
they
last
flashed
game.
for it.
They're trying to see if they can take him down. He's going to be able to slice and dice away from the Everfrost,
no.
and that means what happened mid lane? Tyrion is taken. Look at bot lane. QiuQiu harassing this turret immensely and might be able to just get Light down here and take another one.
Oh man, even Forge flashing preemptively to get the distance on Icon doesn't matter. He pops the Dominus, he uses the slice and dice, gets out beautifully, and that just means that LNG get everything they want on the other side of the map where Rogue Warriors cannot respond. This is Soul Point being grabbed by Tarzan, and all that pressure down on the bot side. They're already knocking on the tier 2 towers. They've already got one of them, and they're looking for more.
This is what we were talking about before the match, right? Is that Tarzan, Light, Lwandy, these tend to be the ones with all the spotlight. But Icon is consistent, and he's always able to absorb this pressure. With 3 people were committed to try to kill him, and he still was able to get out of there. Sure, you know, had to pop Dominance, but not the flash, not the TP, only having to use the ult that's going to be back up soon, and so that he can rinse, repeat, go back top lane, and shove it in again.
And it's just getting really scary at the moment with these side lane pressures and where they're kind of looking. We see the Mega Death Rocket there trying to get the steal.
Too early.
It's nowhere close, though.
Too early. Yep. I mean, it was completely blind, so at least it was an effort.
Yeah. It's A for
that,
effort.
Yeah, I want to talk about this. Look at that bottom side of the map. Look at how blue it is. You can even see that Tarzan's trying to replicate that on this top half of the map. Completely strangling out the life of Rogue Warriors again, making it so they have nothing they're going to be able to get. Technically, I mean, you could call it a perfect game, but there was the Rift Herald taken by Rogue Warriors, right? So it's not every single thing taken by LNG, but they're getting close enough to this moment. They're completely dominating, where Light is going for a 1v1 kill onto Haro. Doesn't flash over the wall, doesn't even want to, but Haro has to limp back to the base.
That is not what you want to see at this point in the game. Haro is one of your mainstays in the front line, and he can't even handle Light at all. The health is just not there. The damage is there for Light, and I have to be very worried at how Rogue Warriors approach the rest of this, right? You've already seen the big lead. They're circling around that 10,000 gold lead now at 21 and a half minutes, and the vision, the chokehold, everything going LNG's way.
Well, here's the flash in from QiuQiu, trying to see if they can get Tarzan on the other side. Super Mega Death Rock is going to be body blocked by Lwandy, with Haro taking a lot of damage. Then on the other side, trying to see if he can get the flank. It's going to be the belly slam with the explosive cast on top of the line. He's going to be able to get the Featherstorm to stay alive, but they got the kill they needed to onto Haro. They are ripping him apart. They're still alive. Finally, Tarzan falls, but at what cost? The chase is coming in. Betty's been split away from Ziv. He's trying to see if he can get back towards his turret, but Makua wants to be able to get him. He's got nowhere he can go. He's not excited. No flash, no cleanse, nothing to do. The Darkened Blade connects. One more. There it is. Taking him down.
Wow, LNG turned that fight RW again for I feel like the 1,000th time in this series. Try something. The heart is there. The idea is there. The execution is nowhere to be found. And LNG take that fight, take a lot of pressure and Tarzan going down, but you're not getting Icon, you're not getting Light, you're not getting these huge damage sources for LNG, and they just wipe you off the Rift. And
with that, sure, they get their first kill in this game, but it is way too late for that to mean anything. We have a near 12,500 gold lead for LNG. One kill, a Kraken Slayer, and Phantom Dancer completed by Betty, the one who got the kill, while you saw on the other side. So much that we gotta even take a look at this.
Oh no.
1v1. It's a 2-level lead for Light. Keep that in mind.
That's ridiculous. And the Gale Force forward, he's so close. He could have flashed over the wall if he wanted to get the kill. He almost thought about it. You saw it there, yeah. But
here, look at this replay. This is where it looks like they might have been able to catch out Tarzan, but he survives for so long.
And the early Mega Death Rocket from Betty, I feel like we've been getting a lot of those, and that's not necessarily where you want to be using. You get that damage potential as the health bars get lower, but he just pulls the trigger early, and I feel like it's not the deciding factor, right? It's just that extra little bit of damage, but initially following up on that damage and missing it onto Tarzan doesn't help.
And then Maguire just chasing down Betty. Again, you know, it's a Jinx trying to escape from Aatrox. It's not really what you can do there. You can't really outrun him. He's going to be able to keep pace with you at all times. So now we see it's just going to be the siege game for LNG. Rogue Warriors There's no real way that they can try to find these flanks. They have no jungle. They have no base, really, that they can even fall back to, because you can see that
Light
LNG
is
are
up
starting to push up.
4,000 gold, Magical. Jesus. Like, I was just going to make a mention of the items. It doesn't matter.
QiuQiu is trying to see if he can get anything, but a Featherstorm perfectly timed to be able to get away from the explosive class. And look at this, the flank in from Icon and Makuya. The Bash Bros trying to take down Rogue Warriors inside of their own base. They don't care if the team's not there just yet. They got the stun they needed to with the flash away from Haro to be able to chase him down with the Stride Breaker. They forced them back to the Nexus turrets once more. Rogue Warriors know that this game is over. LNG are escorting these minions, taking down every structure they can.
Hey, I will just say I love seeing the smiling faces. Maybe it's a little bit of pain, but some smiles coming in for Rogue Warriors. At least they're not downtrodden from this one, and I want to see if they can at least give us a little fireworks to finish it out, because LNG are looking down on the base.
You know, this is going to be the last game of the split. You might as go down with the blaze of glory. They're trying to see if they can fight back, but unfortunately, with the Mountain Dragon up, LNG are playing this clinically. They don't want to be able to risk anything. They want to be able to go to playoffs. They want to secure that they will be the 10th seed for this spring bracket.
This will be the Dragon Soul freely going over to LNG, and at this point, it's pick your poison on how you want to take out Rogue Warriors. It's like finish him or something along those lines, because it is looking really good for LNG to secure that spot, right? Unless there's just some miraculous comeback, but you're circling that 14,000 gold lead, a little bit more than that. So I like it's really rough, and LNG just have all the ideas that they want right now. They did give over a kill though, so maybe it's a little win for Rogue Warriors, right? Giving Tarzan a little something to think about next time he wants to play the Nidalee, but it's still great execution across the board right now for LNG, and especially in the team fights. I love the macro decisions, I love the objective focus, but the team fights have been so strong from LNG as a whole.
Exactly, and this is what we want to see of them, right, going into playoffs. When you face off against a team like Rogue Warriors, it's really about how clean can you win, and you can see that they are winning very cleanly. They haven't really been losing any of these fights in a way that might dramatically get you questioning how they're going to be able to compete going up against some of these teams, going up against the likes of FPX, Rare Atom, maybe even Team WE. This is showing that they might be able to find those upsets in the bracket. They might be able to compete with the best.
And another big point, I know we talked about it a lot, but Icon, man, the mid lane, just being a pressure absorption mat for the team, and being able to still have great performances across the board, right? Having the Galio performance that was very strong. This time around with the Renekton, as you said, kind of the Bash Bros, Makuya and Icon having this strong AD potential there. And it's been just a lot of use from the mid lane of Icon being able to buy time, buy pressure, buy this fight, and Makuya going in.
World Ender doesn't even want to pop. Ooh, Super Mega Death Rocket with the Ignite ticking. Makuya's going to be able to survive barely. He has that TP to be able to rejoin. That it's really interesting to see this. LNG are purely just trying to see if they can take every single objective, every single turret, the inhibitors. They want to cleanly wipe the floor and the plate of Rogue Warriors. They've got Makuya already back. He's going to be able to TP soon. This is Light 1v4 essentially, being able to pressure away Rogue Warriors. Here's the engage. They've got the catch on the Forge. They blow him up. QiuQiu going back in with an active storm, but he knows that it's all for naught. He is dead meat, dead in the water with 2 gone for Rogue Warriors. This is LNG marching in. They want to be able to end this game. They want to pad the KDAs. They want to go to playoffs as the 10th seed here in the LPL. They've got the Nexus turret to fall. They continue to see if they can harass Rogue Warriors all the while. They just are waiting it out for the minions. They're waiting it out to see if they can have a pick on someone like Betty. The flash coming in from Light. He's got the damage onto Betty underneath this fountain. Not going to be able to get the kill just yet. The spear not going to be able to connect onto Betty, but instead, they're going to be able to keep him pinned. Tarzan into the fountain gets the kill onto Betty. That's how you end it. That's what you do in your final game of the regular season.
And coming in with the fireworks the last minute to secure their spot in the playoffs. It's gotta feel good for LNG, as Mind on top of Icon having all that pressure absorption in the mid lane, being a strong mid laner, having Light carry those later game team fights. I just think that LNG are firing on all cylinders right now, and some playoff teams better be a little worried.
Definitely. I mean, we did see a couple stumbles there last week against JDG and Suning.
We did.
But you look at even the match against Suning, where it almost seemed like they were going to be able to win that second game, but it was just one bad fight that really spelled doom for them in that one. But this is what we need to see. We need to see them playing this way going into playoffs, because they are going to have a really tough road ahead of them. They're going to be the 10th seed. There's pretty much no way around that. Their game differential, even with the fact that they are now 8-8, the best that they can hope for, it's a tie Invictus at 8-8 as well if Invictus end up losing, but they'll win in the game differential. So that means they're going up against, they have, what is it? I think 4 different options depending on the results. Team WE, FPX, Rare Atom, or Suning. None of those sound like matches that I want to go into in the first round of playoffs.
Hey, yeah, you got to be ready for the competition, right? You got to go through everybody if you want to be the champion, at least. And LNG showing us a bit of something different here. Being able to pull out the double AD solo lanes, being able to perform on it very well and get that kind of synergy with Tarzan on those picks. I loved being able to see the execution that's always supposed to be there when you pick the Renekton with the Nidalee into the stun spear combo. And I just think when you're looking at the stats for this game, it feels really bad for Rogue Warriors, right? Both games were not even close. You had a huge differential. Only 4 kills in the total series for Rogue Warriors. But on the other side, like, the totality of Light's domination down towards the bot lane into those team fights, it's you can focus on so many different pieces for LNG that looked good in this series.
You really can. Even Makuya, he's someone that really does get like no spotlight at all. He looked really strong in this one, playing the weak side top lane in game 1.
And against Ziv.
Right, against Ziv, putting pressure and nearly getting solo kill. Think about the flash he was able to get on that Ornn, but then in this one playing that Aatrox into him to be able to really bully him around. It's just been insane to see out of the side of LNG.
Yeah, and unfortunate for Rogue Warriors, right? This is going to be the end of it, the end of the potential third time of tripping somebody up before the playoffs. It does not come to fruition. I do want to say I like the fact that they were bringing in QiuQiu. I would have liked to see Kaishuan finish out, but being able to get a little bit of growth for QiuQiu moving forward, trying to get something working, finding out what works best for you guys on stage at least is really important to me. So giving some aspect to Rogue Warriors, you know, continue developing, continue pushing so that you can come back stronger in Summer Split.
Exactly, and that's the real idea for Rogue Warriors, is how they're going to try to see if they can change themselves in a way, whether that be with actual players or game style, maybe a little bit more practice to find out how to fix some communication errors that are going on to better perform into summer. Because they were a team that, going in, were a team that people expected higher of. They expected them to perform a bit better, and it really was a rough split for them.
Hey, at least they were able to get a dub. They were able to get that mark on the scoreboard. They were able to get something for themselves, even if it was, you know, only a couple game wins for them. Yeah, but you know, it's taking away the positive, the silver linings again here, Magical. But we got to turn back over to LNG, because I do feel like Rogue Warriors have had their day in the sun here for this one, but LNG are the shining glory that comes away from this series, right? It was the big story coming into tonight, seeing if they could put up and be able to push into the playoffs, be able to secure themselves that spot. They do just that. And looking forward, you know, it's looking good for LNG, but they've still got a tall task ahead of them if they want to make it deep into the playoffs.
That they do. They have to be able to take down some really rough teams. And for LNG, we've seen how they can play against teams that are lower than them in the standings. They play really well.
Yeah.
But they almost feel like the gatekeepers, right? That if you can't beat LNG, you're not going to be able to go to the playoffs. That's obviously what we've seen. But they also can't really seem to get a grasp of how to beat the teams higher than in the seedings and going into the playoffs. And with that in mind, it is rough for LNG. It's hard to imagine that they're going to be this team that you're confidently choosing, like, yes, this is the team to be able to get the upset. Even if they have a great performance like they did today against Rogue Warriors, we've seen that they do struggle in some things when a team's able to be a bit more on the ball with their communication and try to find those plays to be able to punish LNG.
And the biggest thing where you can punish, I feel like, is if you do get Tarzan off-kiltered early on. And that's something we didn't see in this one. Haro never really got in the face of Tarzan, was never in a comfortable position to do so. But I feel like that's one of the weakest points for LNG is if you can kind of get under the skin of Tarzan, if you can try and stop his early pathing that has been so effective, and getting into those lanes and those trying to get to those solo lanes, that's where things really start to kind of break down for LNG. And so I would expect that, you know, whatever team they are going to be facing does take a heavy onus on getting Tarzan down.
Well, and speaking of Tarzan, of course he got the MVP for that game.
Of course he did.
I like to think that it was only because he dove Fountain at the end, but I actually know that it's more than just that. He had a great performance in that game. Think about how much pressure he was able to exude early on. You can see that in the kill participation, the damage too, just out of your jungler to be able to do that. One of the kills was justified. The other kill was not, and that was the one in the team fight, obviously. The justified one's dive in the Fountain. That's always justified.
Always, absolutely, Mazel. I completely agree with you, but maybe.
Have you
we'll
ever
see how
dove
that works out
Fountain?
in the future.
I don't know, man.
Yes, I have.
Take a look at
many a time. But it starts off with a great combo. I mean, this is the tried and true combo that you look for when you get the Renekton Nidalee, and then just this early game spear management from Tarzan is ridiculous.
It really is. Like, how he's able to thread the needle on some of those to be able to pick off these targets. And a credit also to Light and Icon and Lwandy and QiuQiu in this one. They all looked really strong in this entire series. But this fight right here, where it looked like Rogue Warriors might have been able to catch them out of position, but they just didn't have the damage. They didn't have the stats to be able to really punish LNG.
Yeah, and Tarzan does go down here, giving one of the 2 kills over, but it doesn't matter because like the actual carries, yeah, the actual carries are still there, still raring to go, and are unleashing damage right into you for Rogue Warriors. And so you could see like a bit of desperation there for Rogue Warriors in the end, trying to get something back as they had over and over again, unable to. And I feel like that's where LNG were able to just realize the situation they were in and play very well against it.
Right, and I kind of. Before we toss it to break, I do want to talk about how it does feel, like you mentioned, it does feel bad for BLG, Billy. Unfortunately, not going to be in playoffs. That this pretty much is the death blow to them. They had to hope that LNG would lose, and then they would be able to beat FPX. So my condolences out to them. Maybe in the summer, we'll hopefully be able to see how they're going to do. But with that,